How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have a lot to cover here today, including Gary Gensler being roasted, the stock market and crypto market falling a bit, and some important information on stocks and crypto that you should know right now, including one stock that I am looking at buying. So let's get into all that. If you don't mind, please hit the subscribe button underneath the video. If you watch these videos before, you might as well hit subscribe and turn on that bell notification so you know when I post future videos. We have some good ones coming out here very soon. And there's also a link to the Patreon in case you want to know what I buy and sell and how much. You can check out that link. Also links to Moomoo and Webull in case you want some free money. Now, Bitcoin. Crypto in general has fallen over the last 24 hours. Look at this. Bitcoin down 3.6%, Ethereum down 6%, a lot of altcoins down around 5, 8, 10% as well. So what is happening? Well, first of all, don't be too worried. Some people are really worried that we're down a little bit now. But we're basically falling down because a lot of people got wrecked. A lot of longs getting liquidated in the last 24 hours. You can see 185 million worth of longs. Total liquidations around 236 million. So when this happens, it forces the price of crypto back down. What you can see is some really important levels being reached. And on the Bitcoin dominance here, you can see we went all the way up to 48.9%. And then I had drawn in this support line and we bounced right off of it. You can actually see here in one of my last videos. Now, Bitcoin dominance is going down a little bit, but you can see after this breakout, we start to see some higher highs and lower lows with it from this right here. This is where we've seen some support in the past, so it will be interesting to see if this continues or if we see Bitcoin start moving up. Bitcoin's done. So I pointed out that basically support line there, and then if we go over here, I also talked about the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, which is kind of interesting too. But the ETH Bitcoin chart still is showing these lower highs. We'll have to see if we continue under this trend line. We might jump up a little bit more on ETH to about 0.07. We're at 0.0698, so pretty close to there now. And then it will be interesting to see if we break out or get rejected. I own some Ethereum. And what happened? Well, we got rejected, and it's pretty convincing here. This downtrend continues. You can see went pretty much up to the line and then fell right back down. And what we've seen is new lower lows, at least local lower lows after we get rejected. Now, I'm not saying Ethereum has to do this, but that's what we've seen in the past. And typically, technical analysis does work, especially over the short term. So pay attention to this. We could see Ethereum continue to bleed against Bitcoin. Now, I'm not willing to bet on that and miss out on any future Ethereum gains, which is why I did not sell my Ethereum. But I am looking to add more at some point. Now, as I said as well, we could fall back down to this level right around previous support at 29,000. And that's basically what we did. We bounced right off 29,000. Now we're up at 29,300. Keep in mind, we can always fall further, right? Like the 200-week moving average is around 26K. We could see a move back down there. That's always possible. So just make sure that you're careful and you're not putting in too much money that you're uncomfortable with what happens. I am very bullish on crypto over the long term, but short term, anything can happen. Now, this is pretty interesting. This is Gary Gensler speaking about crypto regulation yesterday. Let me play this video for you.
Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals.
I'm asking you about the fact. Is Ether a commodity or security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals.
I'm asking you about the facts and the law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also.
But you have prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a security in your view. In your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
And my view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is
anticipating. All right, so let me just ask a second question then. Do you think it serves the market for an object to be viewed by the commodities regulator as a commodity and the securities regulator to be viewed as a security? Do you think that provides safety and soundness for the product? Do you think it provides consumer protection? Do you think it serves the value of innovation? I think no should be a very simple answer for you here.
I think,
That uncertainty is bad, is it not?
and I think that Congress has said that there's one agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, under this committee.
And you won't answer my question, and you're the head of that agency. So give me a break. Come on.
I'm answering it in the generic because you would not want me to speak about any one set of facts and circumstance.
Okay, so, but you've already spoken. Have you said anything about Bitcoin?
My predecessors and the agency itself has spoken to that.
Okay, but you're not willing to do the same about Ether. Okay, so let me just step back. There's a lack of clarity here in the marketplace. Can you at least agree to that?
I think that the clarity is there. The law is clear.
All right.
There's a group
So
of individuals who rely
let me be
on
explicit about this. The market doesn't see it. Your regulatory actions and the CFTC's regulatory actions say that there's a great deal of uncertainty here. It is the intention of this committee to fix that uncertainty and actually provide a sound legal basis for this.
So Mr. McHenry absolutely roasting Gary Gensler. Actually sounds like he knows what he's talking about too, not that he's just reading off of some computer that some intern told him to hit on as a talking point. And it's pretty obvious Gary Gensler has some other agenda. The fact that he cannot just say yes or no, that he has to put everything in his own wording, instead of just saying, clarity would be beneficial, he has to say, I can't talk about the specifics based on one set of facts. It's just really, really slimy. From the SEC, they should be able to declare what is a security. That's like half of their job. And then the other half is to go after the people that do not follow the regulations. Instead, they're just continuously going after people that don't follow regulations, but they're not actually showing what is a security and what's not. So making it really difficult. This is pretty ugly to watch. It was pretty hard to watch Gary Gensler just kind of squirm and not be able to actually say yes or no to any of these questions. Now, moving over from the crypto world over to the stock world, Meta is expected to cut 4,000 jobs on Wednesday, and this is after a lot of other job cuts. I believe they're right around 20 to 25,000 jobs that they've cut in the last couple months. Obviously, the company was bloated. I mean, think about how many people 4,000 people are, or how many jobs 4,000 jobs are. I mean, how big of a building that is, how much money that costs when you're thinking about maybe $100,000 per employee a year, maybe multiple 100,000. I'm just thinking average if there are people getting paid less, but that's an insane amount of money that they're spending, and they can just cut them like that and it's no big deal. So it really shows some of the waste and how much money these tech companies really do make when they can cut 20,000 jobs and still work like a normal company. And Tesla has their earnings today. Be on the lookout for that. We'll go over what the expectations are, but Tesla has just cut prices of the Model 3 and Model Y again. So around $2,000 to $3,000, I believe, in cuts for each of these. Obviously, their job is to try to make electric vehicles as cost effective and accessible as possible over the next 20 years and beyond. But a lot of people freaked out that they're doing this thinking the demand isn't there, but the fact is that they are scaling up pretty quickly. The margins are getting better over time if the prices are at the same point. Keep in mind that inflation has come down a little bit, and specifically they're just becoming more efficient. That's what they do over time. They continue to get more efficient, unlike some other car brands. Also, we have their earnings. So just a little bit of a preview here. We're expecting about 85 cents in earnings per share and $23.7 billion in revenue. Now, this is down on earnings per share from a year ago, so they're expecting margin compression pretty drastically. They had $1.07 per share last year and $18.8 billion in sales, so they still are expecting about a $5 billion increase in sales from last year at this time. Now, I want to talk about another company too. So Tesla, I own a large position in. Another company that I've just been watching for a while is Netflix, and they had their earnings last night. You can see that they were kind of sideways in terms of revenue for a handful of quarters. But then they just had a bit of a revenue increase. They missed on revenue just slightly, beat on earnings per share just slightly. This company is only up 10% for the year, and I think they actually had a pretty good earnings. Honestly, their free cash flow exploded to a level that we have not seen in their history, almost doubling their highest free cash flow quarter. Their stock-based compensation went down about 50%, or about Well, from 150 million to 100 million, so 33%. Their net income was around 1.3 billion. Their cash went up to 7.8 billion, and their debt actually went down. So their debt went down 300 million. Their cash went up about 2 billion. They actually bought $400 million worth of shares. And overall, I think they did pretty well. They did push back their crackdown on password sharing, which was planned for the first quarter, which I think maybe some analysts didn't like because this will help their revenue overall. But I think that they're doing a pretty good job. So they are managing this new rollout depending on the area. So they lay out in this article, basically, if they see an area of the world where, they say that they're going to crack down on password sharing, and they actually see people start deleting the service or closing down their account, they'll basically roll that back and say you can add people for just a little bit extra, or we're going to push back when we're going to start cracking down on passwords, basically making it dependent on the area. So here, I think in the US, more people are willing to just buy Netflix for themselves because, it's kind of a nuisance, but you don't want to miss out on the next season of Stranger Things or Love is Blind or anything else. So the fact is people are willing to pay for more in certain areas. And I think just in general, this is a very difficult sector to get into. The streaming wars have been taking place for years, and it's really hard to get to profitability. But Netflix has done this, and they're actually planning on reducing their spend on content because they already spend so much money. The fact is that there is kind of a tipping point where you can spend a little bit less and your revenues should continue to grow. So I like this company. I'm actually looking at buying it here today. It was down 10% after earnings yesterday, still down 4% now. But I think that over the long term, this company will actually do well. And I think they're actually doing the right things right now, buying back some shares, boosting their cash position, reducing spend, and keeping their cash-based or their stock-based compensation low. I think this company could do really well down the line. So I am considering taking a position in it. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video, though. Are you worried about the crypto market right now, or are you just happy that it's up so much over the last 30 days, over the last 60, 90, 120 days? We are up a lot. Year to date, Bitcoin's up 76%. So if you're someone that has waited and then you just went all in on longs, obviously that can definitely hurt. But in the long term, and when you zoom out, the market looks fine. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the Patreon, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.